In this video, you're gonna learn exactly how I build, ship, and sell iOS mobile apps really quick using AI no-code development and using a very unique marketing strategy that I've been using throughout my entire entrepreneur career. By the end of this video, you guys should have the exact roadmap to go out, build, and actually launch your own mobile app to the Android and iOS app stores in a successful way. I'm gonna give you my exact winning strategies, not just in building, not just in how I'm thinking about these apps, but how I'm coming with a marketing first principle every single time that I think about building an application, which has proven to be extremely beneficial. And I've only been building apps for about a year now, but we are currently sitting at 50K MRR and we're growing quite fast. So without further ado, let's jump into this breakdown of exactly how you guys can go ahead and build your own winning apps, even if you've never developed or coded ever before. So what you're gonna get in this video, guys, is how I actually build and launch apps. You're gonna get my full idea generation strategy, which uses marketing first principles. And then I'm gonna show you guys how step 1 relates to step 2 in terms of thinking like a viral app marketer. Because once you understand your concept, we also need to see how easy it is for us to scale it once it starts working. After that, guys, you're gonna get the exact simplistic roadmap to building your first mobile app. I'm gonna give you the bare minimum tech stack that you need. And then we're going to talk about the actual strategies that you can implement starting today if you already have your app built to actually market your app to the world, to generate your first 100,000, 10,000 users. And then as a cherry on top, guys, I'm going to be giving you my $10 million app strategy that I've been using for the past couple of months and our goal for 2025 to actually hit this ridiculous number. So when we're talking about how I actually build and launch apps, I have a whole page that I want to show you guys. But the first thing we really need to knock home here is where you personally are in your own development journey or in your own entrepreneurship journey. If you've never made your first dollar online, then we don't need to be building something that is brand new. You should be building an application that allows you to just get to market in a way that you see as a real opportunity to generate income. And the way that you can do this is literally by seeing the winning projects that are out there. Because the real skill that you have to develop if you've never made your first dollar as an app developer is to actually just learn all the skills that are needed. And so the skills that are needed is app development, but also product design, and then market and your go-to-market strategy. Once you develop all of these skills, even if your first app fails, you now actually have the tools necessary to build your next application. If I were to relate this, guys, I had to build 5 applications before I hit any sort of product market fit. And so all of those repetitions allowed me to build the skills to actually learn what people want and how I can take that to the market. So now that you guys understand that, let's get into the actual tactical strategy of how I build and launch apps. Because my idea strategy, guys, actually uses a marketing first principle, which is very different than what a lot of other people do. So the first portion that I want to talk about in the market first principle is the societal trends and the AI trends. And so just in 2025 alone, there have been a bunch of new startups that have used societal trends plus AI to absolutely explode. And I just want to break down a couple of examples here. So Umax was the first app that really dove into the looks maxing trend in society because everyone is just hyper fixated, especially at the end of 2024, in making their jawline look nice, making their skin look perfect and all this other stuff. And so Umax saw that opportunity and then they saw that they can add AI vision into their application. And these two together created a crazy product market fit. Cluely did the same thing. So Cluely is a brand new AI app that actually just raised $15 million and is just a bunch of kids that have built it. And what this app does is it helps you cheat on basically everything from phone interviews to dates to literally anything that you do on your computer in terms of like sales calls and stuff like that. Because what Cluely does is it's always listening on your conversations and able to help you when you're in your sales calls or in your meetings. Now, Creator OS is very similar again. So the creator industry is the societal trend that we have identified. It's going to 2x in the next 5 years, and there's a whole bunch of creators that are not using social media management tools yet. So when I saw that opportunity, I just went all in. But there's a couple more examples, right? So we have Cal AI, which is a simple health maxing trend that uses AI vision, which is essentially an upgraded health tracking system compared to what the status quo used to have. Now, one of our best testimonials in the Academy is our member Oscar, who created the Clone AI Studio, which grew to a 5,000 user SaaS in just the first couple weeks. And the crazy thing about this application, guys, is all he did was copied my exact blueprint, and then he took it to market, and then it was successful. And so what Clone AI Studio was just a simple AI clone generator for UGC content. And so the societal trend of this is AI video. So just off of societal trends, you can see how massive the opportunity could be, right? And so there's a bunch of other examples we could talk about, but let's move on to the social media marketing trends, right? So when you have your app idea, there's just going to be things in social media that go viral. So that's trending sounds, that could be trending video types. And what you have to ask yourself is, how can blank trend be applied to my app? And so throughout history, there's been so many trends, especially on social media, dating back all the way to like the cinnamon challenge, to like more recently when everyone was using that Gillespie effect when GPT first introduced it. And so using these trends and identifying these trends can help you massively grow your presence on social, which can then result in just growing your business. And so these trends can be applied to your business in real time. But the one that I really wanted to talk about, guys, is the domain-specific examples. So in the domain-specific trend examples, guys, let's say you developed an app in AI development. Let's say you were going up against Lovable and Replit and you built an app like that. Well, you can look at the trends inside of AI development and use that in your marketing scheme. Like GPT-5 just came out, and that's a huge trend right now. And so if I had an AI development app, or if I was working in an AI development company, I could then make an announcement that GPT-5 is integrated into our application, and that will probably generate some good views just because GPT-5 itself is trending. Now, another example is health, right? So there's tons of trending supplements, trending diet regimes, trending routines that people have to like health max or, create longevity in their lives and, age slower or whatever. And hopping on each one of these trends and incorporating it into your application, something like that, could be massively beneficial for health. And so this keeps going. And the easiest way that you can find these trend examples, especially if you're starting out brand new as a marketer for your application, is to just study domain-specific competitors. Like CreatorOS, Clonify, StockTalk AI, all have competitors. And so even though I believe that my product is better, they already have the market fit in terms of already having thousands of users. And so we can reverse engineer how they're doing their go-to-market strategy. The main portion of this slide here, guys, is the content-first marketing principles that you just need to apply to your application no matter what. So the first thing you need to ask, even before you guys start building, is what type of creators can promote my application? So once again, I'm going to relate this to CreatorOS. CreatorOS helps content creators post content to all platforms at the same time and see all of their analytics. And so content coaches can be a great creator that promotes my app. Big content influencers can be another type. Big social media marketing agencies can be another type. And so after you move on from this step, then you need to start thinking for yourself personally, what kind of content can I create? What kind of scripts can I create for this type of application and for this type of market? You should generate, let's say, like 30 different scripts, because in the next slide, we're going to talk about what these are going to be used for. From there, guys, you got to ask what type of tools, outsourcing, or other things I need to actually be able to film, create content, and scale a personal brand. And so getting a webcam set up if you're doing computer-based content, getting nice cameras for real life if you're doing personal life content, setting up a nice studio if you're doing podcast content. These are all very important, and you need to wrap your mind around that before going in so that you can actually scale consistently when you're ready to go. Now, once you have your video ideas and you have your scripts and you have your target market, you need to actually think like, in these videos, how can I get people interested? What are the hooks? What are the call to actions? What are the pain points that I'm going to be extracting from the video? An example of a pain point could be like, why are you wasting hours every day posting to all platforms when you can just click one button? Daniel over here just does that, and he saves 3 hours a day every single day, and now his business is growing faster. And so that's just an example of like how I would get people interested by showing them the value proposition in the video. Now, lastly, guys, what we want to talk about is not really to ask who your target market is, but more who is the ideal viewer. because your content is what's going to create the sales. And so your target market really doesn't matter, because what really matters is who's watching behind the screen. And obviously you want your target market to be the ideal viewer, but sometimes that's not the case. And so you got to figure that out. So this, guys, genuinely is the first real step in how I think like a 100x solo app marketer. And this is how we're starting to absolutely crush it. Now let's talk about the actual like funnel, right? So let's say we have now launched our application. This is how to market your application. So we thought about how to think of the ideas. You can either clone an idea that works. You can either, iterate on a bunch of ideas. But what we have to talk about here is the actual marketing funnel, guys. And so the first thing that we need to do before anything, and I promise you, is that you actually just need to start your top of funnel content and your outreach system. Because this, no matter what, is going to be needed for any type of app or any type of business that you're going to scale on the internet. And so you might as well already get this ball rolling so that when you introduce your application, you're going to be sitting on so many leads, so many followers that you can then promote the app to immediately from your launch. It'll be a little bit more difficult if you launch your app and then you try to do the marketing. Obviously it can still work, but it'll just take more time. And so you might as well hit two birds with one stone by starting your content and your outreach systems while you start developing. And so in terms of the top of funnel content and outreach, these are all the different types of content that I would make for this example. And so the example that we're going to be talking about is claude.ai, which is a fitness app. And so at top of funnel, we would be running short form videos, long form videos, written posts, written threads, carousels, pictures, stories, and we'd be trying to get the founders on some podcasts. We would then be utilizing some influencer marketing, paying these people per 1,000 views. And so we would give them the scripts, which is why I spoke about here, what scripts and content can I generate? Because once you figure out what works, you can then directly give it to the influencers, the gym bros and gym girls, to actually continue to grow your app. For this application, I wouldn't have any affiliate marketing, but I would go absolutely bonkers with the retargeting via emails, because this top of funnel could actually get a lot of free signups. We could have like a 7-day trial. And so in that 7-day trial, we're going to get a whole bunch of emails that we can then retarget. Now, the most important thing here, guys, in step one is when you decide what your go-to-market strategy is, then you need to commit fully to a content schedule. Like you need to, like you have to. And so when I talk about a content schedule, I'm really talking about like a specific vertical of content. So short form content, and I'm going to post that 3 times a day for the next month. That's an example of a content schedule that you need to commit to, because then we can start focusing on the results of the content versus adhering to the quota of 3 posts. Once you have those 3 posts, that's just step one, because we need to see how it's working. And so in stage 1, your main focus is just creating a consistent top of funnel. When you move on to step 2 here in the funnel, you are now turning these viewers into warm leads. And the way that you can do this is a bunch of different ways, right? So in your videos, you can make a call to action to get people in a newsletter. And then in that newsletter, you can start making advertisements or, persuasive campaigns of how Cal AI is actually helping people lose weight, or how people are like actually losing weight or getting in shape using the application. Another way you can get people from cold to warm is to bring them into a community, whether that's free or paid, that can have some courses as well. And so a Cal AI fitness community would be a great example of something that I would want to build here, because it gives them value and it allows me to start building a community, which starts building reputation for our app. Now, let's talk about bottom of funnel tier 1. This is when your client has officially decided to start paying in some sort of way. So they've gone from either free community to paid, or they've gone from free community to paid application. And so the way that this actually happens from free to paid here is just through the consistency of the top of funnel. And so you need to be building brand reputation consistently, shipping app features, showing marketing, and staying consistent. And what Hormozi likes to say is that there's 14 touch points until a sale is generated. And so really, you just have to focus on getting yourself in front of these clients as frequently as possible, and then you should start converting really, really well. And so once you reach bottom of funnel tier 1, your client is now paying the monthly for the application. And so in bottom of funnel tier 2, I just want to tease out how I would continue to scale the Cal AI business. And that's by onboarding actual fitness coaches. And from there, we can funnel these paid leads into the tier 2 leads. And they can then sell these paying clients on high ticket fitness coaching. And so as the app owner, I don't even need to service these high ticket clients. I can just give a slice of that commission to the actual fitness coach and have them service the lead. Now, this is also very beneficial because what this does for us is it creates testimonials at scale. And so all of a sudden we'll have a really big testimonial that we can start talking about and posting about in our top of funnel. And so in this way, we're creating an absolute flywheel of growth. Let's talk about your mobile app MVP tech stack. So I'm not gonna tell you guys what exactly Python, Node.js, or any of this shit that you should use in terms of your actual framework. I'm just gonna give you the bare minimum things that you need. And I'm gonna be giving them to you for free. You guys are gonna get a GitHub repo that's gonna have Claude code, Supabase already built into your application and ready to build an iOS specific app on Expo Go. If you guys want more explanation on this, you're gonna see the video before this. I actually showed you guys exactly how I build iOS apps. And so if you wanna watch that full tutorial, I would definitely recommend it if you've never built your first iOS app. Basically, what this allows you to do is fork a template that gives you everything you need to start building. And it also helps me see where you go wrong. Because if you're forking my code base, I can actually oversee your project and I can help you develop it a little bit faster, or some of the team members in the No Code Academy can help you develop it faster because we'll have access to the code base as well. This is the juiciest slide of the whole video. So we're gonna talk about the basic go-to-market strategy for a solopreneur on a budget. This is my basic and proven guide that I used myself when I was first scaling, and you can start it for $0 today. So it has 3 phases, and I'm gonna start with phase 1, which is just short form video. Now, there's gonna be so many gurus out there that are gonna be telling you, oh, you can post on Reddit, you could post on Product Hunt, you could do all of these little hacks to get your first users, and I don't give a shit about those strategies. And the reason why is because those are not reliable. They're not consistent. They're not something that I have full control over. I either post my product on Product Hunt and it gets clicks, or it doesn't. I either post my post on Reddit and it gets clicks, or it doesn't. But that I don't have control over. And so this strategy here, you have 1000% control, and the likelihood of you getting this to succeed is actually guaranteed while your product is actually good. So that's the only thing that matters, but the marketing plan that you're seeing here actually works, all right? So phase 1 is short form video. You're gonna be posting 3 short form videos a day across Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram threads. That 3 posts turns into 18 posts a day. That 18 posts a day turns into 540 posts a month per profile. Now, the only tough thing about short form phase 1 is that you have to be doing majority of the work because you're doing this on a budget. Now, we have a bunch of agents that will still help you, accelerate your timelines and accelerate your workflows. But you have to focus on this yourself, because the goal of this phase is to just focus on building the muscle of organic marketing. Instead of focusing on the results in this period, instead of focusing on all that, what you're actually focusing on is creating this consistency and then optimizing your workflow. And then from there, you can have some optimization and how the videos are performing. But really, if you post 3 times a day for 30 days straight, you're naturally just gonna get better. So the phase outcome here, guys, should be simple, of generating your first paying user and optimizing the entire funnel. Once you do that, you're gonna have extreme confidence in how this marketing system is gonna work for you. And so this allows you to move into phase 2, especially once you generate your first paying user, because that is the best sign of validation. And so when we move on to phase 2, you're gonna be optimizing the winning content. Because after you have 540 posts in a month, some of those must have performed well, or at least performed better than others. And so you can use those winning posts to then repost again and again and again. But now we can onboard AI influencers. So we have an AI agent workflow that allows us to spin up AI influencers. And so if you have winning content from short form video 1, you can now multiply that content across 10 different AI influencers, for example, and this increases your post volume by a 10x. So now you're sitting at 5,000 posts a month. And as you start generating paying users, you can also start outsourcing stuff like quality video editing, video production, and this will continue to help you grow. And you're still focused on just developing the marketing skill. Now, the phase outcome here should just be MRR growth or increasing the amount of revenue that you're generating. Cool, guys. So when you get to phase 3, this is where people get to $1 million companies because you're going to be outsourcing and scaling. You're going to be basically overviewing the entire go-to-market strategy at the high level. And you don't even really have to be creating content anymore. You're just going to be optimizing the entire funnel as a CEO. And so at this point, you're going to be posting more than 5,000 posts a month easily, but you're not going to be creating any of that content. Instead, the workflows are going to be a marketing agency you pay for, plus AI influencers, plus AI agents, plus real influencers. And so the phase goal here would be to completely remove yourself from the day-to-day marketing operations, focusing purely on growth. And from here, guys, you can still focus on your MRR scale, but once you outsource, that makes this entire company completely sellable. And software companies sell for like a 4 to 8 multiple. And so if you're doing like, I don't know, 100K a month, that's 1.2 million a year. That's something like $5 million in terms of a exit valuation. Now, the cherry on top, guys, is my $10 million app strategy. And there's 3 sectors that I'm kind of using to make this all happen. And it's just been proving to be very beneficial here. So there's 3 sectors that we're going to talk about, which is entropy, the law of randomness, the product entrepreneur fit, and then the scaling logistics. So the first one is entropy. Now, the law of randomness can actually be applied to virtually anything in your life. You want to find a supermodel wife? Well, go and hit up 100,000 women, and one of them will say yes, that is a supermodel. And that is the law of randomness in a nutshell. And so I apply the law of randomness to generating skills. So essentially, the more skills I acquire randomly, the more capabilities I unlock randomly. And so creating content is an entire skill of randomness that is generating a lot of views that can then funnel into leads that I never knew existed before. And that is an example of how the law of randomness is benefiting me, using trends in society to benefit me using this law of randomness. And so if we see AI video is absolutely taking off, AI vision is taking off, software development is taking off, like how can I, use these randomness of societal trends to apply to my business in a unique way? And so I keep a very unique perspective on the entire AI world, the entire world as a whole, using this entropy lens that I look through. And so the entropy lens is literally like, if I just continuously do the most interesting and random and creative things that will develop my skills, then the randomness that those will develop will be better than I can even imagine. And that's been working very well. Now, the next part is the product entrepreneur fit. And so, simple Cinderella line, if the shoe fits, it's easier to wear. If you can see yourself marketing a product, it's easier to market that product. And so my apps reflect that. We are building fitness apps because I can see myself selling and growing that app. The Creator OS is a social media app, same thing. So the product entrepreneur fit's really important here because, things are going to get very competitive in SaaS. And so if you have some passion behind the thing that you're talking about, then, building a team around that or hiring people to, express that same type of passion is really important. And so the product entrepreneur fit is really important here. And again, I've seen massive benefits from just choosing the SaaS ideas and the AI agents that I want to build that I can actually see myself using and selling. All right, so let's talk about scaling logistics, guys. So you just really have to ask yourself, what are all the ways that I can scale this product? What are all the ways that I can sell it? And then what are the bottlenecks? What are the actual costs that are going to be associated when we start generating, revenue? And if this were to succeed, how do I continue to grow it without burning out? And I figured out all of this scaling logistics before entering any endeavor. And so when I was like, how do I, build the No Code Academy in a way to grow it without burning out? What are the bottlenecks? What are the costs? How do I grow Creator OS without burning out? What are the costs to that as well? And I'm going to be making a new video talking about the costs of running an AI service agency. But in a nutshell, guys, that is how I build and sell apps. I use a very unique entropy type of strategy and a product entrepreneur fit while using all of the skills that I'm trying to develop in terms of go-to-market strategies, no-code app development, and I'm really excited to see what the No Code Academy can actually do from this moment on. So I hope this gave you a peek behind my mind in how I think about building apps and scaling apps and actually going to market. So I hope this helped, and I'll see you guys in the next one.